Hey guys, and welcome to the J and K Show. This is your Monday edition or Tuesday edition. I'm sorry. We're covering all that's been happening over the weekend. We're going to cover breaking news today and just all of the football that was played because everybody's trying to play for a championship. We'll first start off with the breaking news today, which is Mike Tomlin stepping down as the Steelers head coach. Jay, did you see this coming? Did you see Tomlin stepping down as the head coach?
Absolutely not. I figured it was going to be one of those. He was going to be there as long as he wanted to be.
Guess he doesn't want to be.
I guess he doesn't want to be. Yeah. So he wasn't fired, but it was just informing the team that he is gonna not return. So I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, Mike Tomlin was fired today." He was not fired. He stepped down as the head coach. Maybe he was given an ultimatum, but I just don't see the Rooneys doing it like that. I think they would say, "Hey, if you want to go, go. We'll bring in another coach. If you want to take a break and everything." Dude, Pittsburgh fans have been riding this shit for so long. It's like, why? Like, why though? Why do you want him to go so bad? And you're calling for his job? It's like his job. He wasn't the one that was bad at his job. It was Art Smith, man. He could not do shit. I mean, if they were talking about bringing him back, then I would understand Tomlin saying, "I don't want to be back if you guys are going to retain him."
Yeah, I mean, they very clearly they needed a new OC. They needed a little bit of a new philosophy because I'll be honest, at times I'm like, dude, Rogers is slinging it. I know he's older, and a lot of people be like, he's washed up. And it's like, well, you can say that when they're not winning games, but when they were winning games, it was like he was silent. There was a lot of silence surrounding Rogers. So, but the reality is the way their offense moves, it's just very inconsistent. And that has nothing to do with Mike Tomlin, in my honest opinion. I think he's more of a defensive guy in his defensive back days and everything as far as coaching. So he was a leader of men, and Steelers fans thinking this grass is always greener. But what did we talk about? We talked about let the Bengals fire their coach and bring in Mike Tomlin. Well, guess who has a vacancy in that division? I believe they had a conversation with the Ravens GM today, and they like, "Hey, did you hear Mike Tomlin was fired?" And he's like, "You're kidding." And they're like, "Would you consider bringing in Mike Tomlin to be the coach of the Ravens?" And he's like, "Kind of be hard not to." What do you mean? Like
Yeah.
he's one of the best out there, and it's like my rule, and I've told a lot of people this is my rule is if you fire your head coach and he is immediately the front runner for every open job, then you should not have fired your head coach. That is my rule.
But I mean, it's two of the most. I think the two of them, Tomlin and Harbaugh, weren't they the active retained coaches? Like they've been at it for so long.
Yeah. And
I think Tomlin was there 19 years, and Harbaugh was like 16 or 17.
And they just played each
Wow.
other in a do or die game for the division, and now they are both not there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we were just talking about people saying, should the loser lose their job? And it's like the winner stepped down. This is what's going on.
Yeah. So it didn't even matter. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Do we think, I think reports are coming out, I think ESPN was saying that he's actually not expected to coach this coming season. I believe that to be true. I know some people want to say he was fired, but Jay, I think that he stepped down tremendously on his own. I don't think that anyone coerced him. I think he may have had things going on he did not like. And I think he truly stepped down because he's like, I just need a break. I just flat out need a break. I've
Yeah.
been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. If anybody deserves it, I mean, hell, he does.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's been there damn near 2 decades. He's given up to that organization, and he's never had a losing season ever. Nobody else can say that. He's been basically the definition of consistency, which is very hard in this league, and it's hard to keep a coaching job for 3 or 4 years, let alone 19. So he deserves a lot of flowers for what he's done there. And if Steeler fans are rejoicing today and are happy today, you guys just may be about to enter the find out stage, because it could be rough next year. And especially if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, which I don't think he's going to come back. And I believe there's going to be some guys who jump ship from that team. Now, if they can bring in a big name guy, who understands the town and the fan base and everything, then I mean maybe it won't be so brutal, but it does have the makings of maybe a subpar season next year, because if you're going to lose Rodgers, then who are you going to play? You just don't know. You have that question mark, so you're automatically behind.
Yeah. I look at the situation and I think maybe the Steelers are a little ready for a bit of a rebuild or a retool because they do have a young quarterback in Will Howard. They still have other playmakers on the team that are young, like Calvin Austin's not old, DK Metcalf's not too old. They could probably draft and sign and bring in some younger talent and kind of go into this phase of a little bit of a rebuild, retool kind of thing. But I will be honest, you had Mike Tomlin. If you wanted to win or finish with winning records, then you keep Mike Tomlin. I talked to a Bears fan over the weekend. You know who I'm talking about. And
Oh
he
yeah.
said he thinks and talks to guys who are Steelers fans, and they are tired of being good but not quite good enough. And they think they would benefit way more if they were just awful and got better players in the draft. Well, Pittsburgh, guess what? That's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you just got tickets to the show, so
Congrats.
man, you can't. I understand, because once you get complacent with where you are, your team's going to be in the playoffs every year. At least that's what you have in your mind at the beginning of the season. It's like it doesn't matter what happens. We're going to be, 3, 4 maybe games above 500, and we're going to go to the playoffs. We're going to be in the hunt for the division. Maybe we win it, maybe we don't, but you usually are expecting to at least make the playoffs every year. So do you really, and I think if Steelers fans look at themselves in the mirror today and say, okay, did I really think that at the beginning of the year, did I really think that this was a Super Bowl competing team? No. Did they have weapons, and did they have a team to maybe win a playoff game? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be real with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think looking at it this year, I think some of us expected Pittsburgh to be right around where they finished, right around 10-7.
Yeah.
Maybe a division win, maybe backing their way into the wild card.
I think we
And I
expected
don't think
the
anybody
Ravens.
had them winning the chip this year.
I think we expected the Ravens and Bengals to be a lot better.
Yeah.
And then so it was hard to think maybe that Pittsburgh was going to be able to do it. But I will admit, like when you think about yourself as like being consistent, you guys actually ended up being the best team in the division. So that
Yeah.
broke your way. And that's why you try to be a competitive team year in and year out. If that's in the cards, then you go ahead and try those cards because then that kind of means like you're a piece away. What if they have gotten a trade for like a Micah Parsons? Sometimes you could be that one guy away from turning this whole thing into this kind of vibe that helps you win, that you already have a lot of talent. Sometimes a piece away is all you have to be. And if you rebuild, guess what? That's not the case. You're 6 and would be a 6-11. That's very
Yeah.
I would right away think Pittsburgh 6-11 next year. And that's not
Yeah.
to disrespect the players. That's to respect Mike Tomlin and what he's able to do.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know who they retain next year, what players they get rid of. Given DK's actions at the end of the season, I don't know if they bring him back.
Yeah.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm pretty certain that they only have him for 1 year, right? So it's either one or two. It wasn't like a big, massive contract, I don't think. But I think that they need to definitely address the quarterback situation. Whether Aaron comes back or not, I don't see them retaining Rudolph for another year.
He signed an extension.
Today?
No, in March. I totally forgot that.
Ah,
He signed a 4-year, $132 million extension.
well, they're fucked.
Well,
Okay.
they're not screwed because again, Pittsburgh is the type of team that, like you said, when I say one piece away, their roster is built to be very close to being seriously a contender. Well, they can
Mm-hmm.
bring in a different QB, and I know it's not sexy, but when you think about how Aaron Rodgers was, he wasn't amazing all year, but he was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You could bring in, I think Kyler and Tua might be able to do the same things at times that Aaron Rodgers has throughout the year. I think you'll have some good and you'll have some bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
you can get that right away. So if you replace them with someone like that, I think they can maybe do another 10-7. But again, that's with the Ravens and the Bengals having a down year, which you don't really
Yeah.
know that that's going to happen year in and year out. The Ravens probably won't, but Bengals, I mean, ownership, they probably will. They'll probably stink it up again next year.
Yeah, they'll find a way, huh? But I think if Cincinnati can get their shit together in the offseason, the 2026 year is going to kind of line up like it did for the Bills this year. I mean, you don't have to deal with Mahomes in the playoffs. You don't have to deal with Lamar in the playoffs. This is your time to make a run. Now, next year, you're going to have the Ravens under new coaching staffs and the Steelers with new coaching staffs and the Browns with a new coaching staff. You're the only one team in that division now that's going to have consistency, and you're going to have a fluidity within your offense, and you're going to know what's going on. So, yeah, next year is the year for the Bengals to just tear ass in that division and stay healthy. Then I think they'll do it. But
when the
they
Bengals
just
have the continuity in their front office to have an
yeah
advantage, how did this
yeah.
happen?
Well, that's the front office I could give two shits about because it's garbage there anyway.
Yeah.
But it's what can the coach, because I think Zach Taylor now understands that if we don't make a deep playoff run next year, I think everybody's gone.
He's
Now,
on
if
the
you can,
striking kind of hot seat, right? It has to be.
it's definitely hot going into next year.
Yeah.
So if you can convince Joe Burrow, hey, I think one, they all need to come together and just let ownership know we need linemen, and I mean bad. So spend some fucking money. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. We need a good interior. Need a good left tackle, good center, and at least a good right guard, and then you can work with everything else.
And you might have
So
to sacrifice. I'm sorry, you might have to sacrifice T. Higgins or Trey Hendrickson. You might have to.
yeah,
I mean, it's
and
just the
I
way it
mean,
goes.
yeah,
You can draft some pass rushers, you can go sign some guys, but you're gonna have to you could have to sacrifice one to help divvy out the situation better for you. You get some more
hmm
draft picks, you can draft young pass rushers maybe or linemen. Like you might have to do that because what they've done so far ain't working. Ain't
no,
working.
no, and that's why I thought, Tobin was as good as gone. I thought he was going to get fired. Zach Taylor, you could probably go either way with it. You could
I
say,
like
okay, well,
Zach Taylor.
he's a good coach,
I like
but
him.
you know, you could say, okay, well, you got one more year left on your deal anyway. We're not going to extend you. Let's see where you are probably around week 12 next season. If we got a damn good record and we're making a playoff push and a division push, then okay, we might extend you 2 more years. But there's something there that has to change. I mean, they have got to flip their own script and say, what is something that we wouldn't do in the past that we have to do this year? Go get some goddamn free agents, go spend some money, and actually try in the draft because they haven't been doing that.
Yeah.
They've just been picking who they think is the best available instead of addressing areas that they need.
Like, well, these receivers, I mean, they're so good, you know. Ah.
They're so good and so young and so jacked.
Well, another guy was fired today as an OC for the Chargers.
Whoa, hey, Dad, wait. Another guy was fired.
You're right. I apologize. Tomlin stepped down. I don't want to
You
spread
apologize.
I apologize. Spreading misinformation is not what this
We're
show's gonna
damn
do.
good journalists. You better not do that.
John Harbaugh was fired. Mike
Yes.
Tomlin stepped down because he won that division game and won the conference or division championship. So they're good, and he stepped down because he was just like,
I'm tired of it.
I said, if he gets a job soon, maybe he was told you can step down or we're gonna fire you. But I think he's gonna take time off, which tells me, hey, that's the narrative I'm gonna stick with. He stepped down. But the OC that was fired today from the Chargers, who scored I think it was 6 points. They didn't even score a touchdown.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Game. Greg Roman was fired. And my very first thought, we briefly said it before we started the show, my very first thought was, well, he's going back to the Ravens. And then I'm like, is he going as the head coach for the Ravens?
I don't think so.
Because that offense was MVP Lamar when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just timing. Timing is everything.
Yeah, well, unless he's got a staff in mind, then I don't think that's going to happen. I think if they do bring him back, it would have to be under someone else who has head coaching experience with him. So I don't think he would be a very good head coach anyway. Now, what I think could happen is the Chargers could lose everything. They could lose Jesse Minter, and I think maybe that's what they'll do. I think the Ravens are probably leaning more towards Jesse Minter, bringing him in as a head coach, and then he could probably say, "All right, Roman, you can come in. You've run this offense before." So I could see that happening for sure.
They're interviewing Cliff Kingsbury. The Ravens are.
That would be a horrible fit. Horrible. I do believe. Now he could probably get some juice out of Lamar. I'm not saying they wouldn't be good offensively.
Their current head coach for the OC for the Ravens is Todd Monken. And Todd Monken is interviewing for the Buccaneers and the Browns. So in a roundabout way, you could find yourself seeing Greg Roman back on the Ravens because the OC is about to take a job somewhere. And Greg Roman will be like, oh, I'll go back as an OC there. And then you may have a new head coach. I think that the Ravens are more likely to not hire Greg Roman as a head coach. But it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. I'd be a little bit surprised, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be like, oh, no. It wouldn't be anything like that. But, I mean, I think, especially in the new NFL, I mean, younger coaches are having success sooner. And, minus a couple here and there that haven't done really good. But, I mean, it just seems like the 30s, late 30s, early 40s coaches that are coming in fresh are kicking ass right out of the gate. And I think that maybe that's where they're leaning. So that's why I think Baltimore, at least on their side, they would probably rather have Jesse Minter be the head coach than Greg Roman, who's coming in. He's an old guy, but I think that would be probably better because I don't see it'd be like with Billy. I don't see Vic Fangio getting a head coaching job. He's going to stay in the defensive coordinator role, then he's not going to go anywhere else. It's like all the older guys are starting to kind of phase out of the head coaching openings, and they're just settling in at DC, OC, whatever it is. So I think it would be probably better for them if they went younger anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's go ahead and shift gears to college football. Because the Indiana Hoosiers are going to the national championship. I'm going to have to start getting some football gear in here because we're here.
Yeah. We're a football school now.
We were together for this game. We said, I think we should watch it because it's a weekend game, which was great. And the national championship was always on a Monday. So it's like, school night. So we were like, let's get together and watch this game. And I mean, everyone saw it. Very first play, IU Oregon, pick 6.
That was so nice. Way to start a game.
I mean, D'Angelo Pons is that guy. I had been saying it when he was trying to lock down, was it Jermaine Smith?
Jeremiah. Stop calling him Jermaine.
I keep saying Jermaine. You're right. I still think he's transferring. Whatever. Anyway.
Oh, well, whatever. I don't think
so. Jeremiah Smith. I thought he locked down Smith very well in that game. Smith's 6'3", like 215.
Yeah, he's going to get his.
And Pons is like 5'9". I keep saying he's the same. He's that Bills cornerback over the years that was that small guy. I've said too many names now, so I can't think of him. But anyway, he was small, and he would stick you at the line of scrimmage, and he'd stay with you at every moment. And it just reminds me of him. Help me out here, Buffalo Bills defensive back.
Trey White?
Not Trey White. Dang it.
Boyer?
No.
He's safety.
Tre'Davious. Was it Trey White? You were saying Trey. Is it Tre'Davious White?
Tre'Davious White, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yes. Yeah, I knew it was a long first name. It was like Tre'Davious or Jodavious or something. Anyway, okay. So, yes, Tre'Davious White. He's a dog. He fought right at the line of scrimmage. He's sticky right away. I like D'Angelo Pons the same way. He takes the ball for a pick 6. And then Oregon responded. I mean, they went right down the field for like a 15-play drive, and they scored a touchdown, tie the game.
Yeah.
Like, they were fine, honestly. The quarterback was fine after that blunder. I thought we were going to have ourselves a game.
Yeah, and that would have been nice, but...
And then...
Not what happened.
IU is just on a whole nother level. And this whole thing, weeks ago, they didn't play nobody, right? Didn't play nobody.
Oh, they still haven't played anybody.
They come up with a new thing, Jay. Have you heard the new thing?
They're cheating.
They're cheating. And how are they cheating, Jay?
Yeah. A computer program.
Right. They're using programs to find the best 23-year-old players and bring them in because they're grown men. They have the oldest team. They are cornering the market as a mid-major in basketball would for like a Butler. And they are just taking full advantage of the NIL as its beginning of existence. And people are just new to it. And so IU's just taking advantage of something, and everyone will catch on, and
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. And they're just cheating because they have grown men. Really about this in week 7? We didn't think about this last year. We're just saying it now. They're in the national championship. Well, they got all these 23-year-olds and 4-year-olds. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, they're doing is they're getting mentally just, mature.
Yes.
They're getting players with eligibility that are, 21, 22 years old who have played and understand and have grown as a person, not just as a player, but as a person as well. Yes. So the fact that they're sitting there saying, well, yeah, IU's got the highest average age of their players, so what? That doesn't mean anything. What matters is what are they putting on the field and what are they putting on tape? Domination. I mean, they're doing it. You don't want to get, and I understand it, you don't want a 19-year-old kid who's going to go out there down by 3 with 2 minutes left and freak the fuck out because he's never been in that scenario before.
Like, isn't the goal to have a team? If you're developing a program properly, think about it. If Alabama is a dynasty for 10 years, should they not be having a bunch of juniors and seniors taking their moment in the sun to lead the team that they've been waiting, watching the guys before them take them to the promised land, being a dynasty like that? Isn't that the proper protocols? If you're a team that's playing a freshman, I have to question, why didn't you recruit better at that position? At some point, that is not, you're just not going to get the number one receiver and just be like, well, what about the other years you were playing a freshman? Did you get the number one receiver then? And did you get him the year after that? And where are your juniors at that have been in the program for 3 years? I have to question that. Like, why aren't you developing? Why aren't you?
Yeah.
This isn't one and done. This isn't college basketball. This is college football. They got to play 3 years. Why aren't you developing? And why do all the juniors want to come to IU?
Because they see the development that's been there the last couple of years. And what Signetti's done, he has played the NIL pool perfectly. He has brought in everyone who he has brought in has produced, and they have done great. Now, you can kind of look at this and compare it to, March Madness. It's like anytime you see like one of the blue bloods get upset by a higher seed, the 15 seeds and the 13 seeds, it's always because
4 seniors and a junior.
It's a mid-major team who has played together for 3 or 4 years, and you got senior, junior leadership.
Yeah, when Drake upsets Baylor, are we all screaming that it's unfair?
Yeah, well, God, they're all sitting outside the bar, in the morning. They can go in and buy freaking cigars. Screw these guys.
When Yale beats Duke, well, it's just they're all smarter than them. It's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah, but what? What logo? Who cares?
Dude, like there's so much bitching and crying. Like, I didn't realize that everyone is so much more comfortable if it's dominated by an SEC team. Because ever since Big Ten started winning the championship every freaking year, there's been nothing but bitching. Michigan stealing signs, Ohio State, blah, blah. They got lucky and this and that or whatever. Like, a lot of people were hating on them as far as an SEC standard is concerned. They were like, oh, the Big Ten's soft. They don't play nobody. Ohio State played 3 teams all year and they won and stuff. It's like, what is this bullshit? You get to the CFP, you play all the best teams. IU has beaten these teams by, like, what was it? They said, like, almost 100 points to, like, 27. Like, stop it. It's an absurd ratio. And if you count the Ohio State game, we've won 3 big top 10 type teams, 10 top 10 games in a row. And last 2, we've slaughtered them. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's the jealousy factor.
Come on. It's IU. How can you be jealous
It really is. Well, it's not just the fact that it's them. It's not the school itself. It's just what they've been able to do.
Yeah.
And they seem to forget really quick that they won 11 games last year. It's like it's not really that big of a difference. They just the 1 year turnaround was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And now they're just building upon it.
Yep.
So anytime you get, these SEC eggheads like Paul Feinbaum, who are just going to say he's going to suck SEC dick no matter what, and he's going to hate anybody else who's out there doing better and clobbering his SEC, glory hole teams.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It really is. It's like you can't look at it and say what it is.
I don't understand the premise of like a Paul Feinbaum who sits there and he's like, "Oh, the SEC is the best conference. It's funny the Big Ten forgets how dominant the SEC's been. They've suddenly started winning." And it's like, why are you talking about the past? I'm willing to acknowledge
because he's stuck there.
Yeah, why I'm willing to acknowledge the fact that 5 to 10 years ago, the SEC was the best conference, and it was that way for a long time. But we can't sit here and say now that the Big Ten has caught up, that the Big Ten might be the better conference. We can't say that after possibly a third straight national champion coming out of the Big Ten, a different one. Those are 3 different teams.
Yeah, and parity, bud.
One of them this year would be the most losingest Power 5 team in history. And they are winning. People are uncomfortable with change. They're uncomfortable with what they don't understand. And it's what a joke, man. What a joke. Like, enjoy it. The one thing I will say is if Alabama was beating IU 35-3 and then beating Oregon 55-10 or whatever it was, guess what? Everyone would be bored. Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm sick of seeing either it got really bad there for a while where it was either Alabama or Georgia or Alabama and Georgia in the title game. And it's like, son of a bitch.
Awesome. They were great.
Yeah.
They were NFL
and that was
ready players everywhere.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. And that was pre-NIL when every player coming out, if you had an ability, if you were given a scholarship offer from Alabama or Georgia, you were going to take it because they were the 2 pipelines to the NFL.
Yes.
Regardless.
And players are going to go to the best teams that get them the best chance to become a pro. That's just
yeah. And I don't blame them for that.
No,
you can't blame the kids for that,
especially if you're going to play. If you know you're going to play significantly and be a part of that culture, it's great for you. Great.
Yeah. And people would argue it's like, okay, well, it's kind of odd how ever since NIL came into existence that the SEC has kind of fallen down a little bit. It's like, okay, so how about this for a rumor? How about SEC schools were paying players before it was legal? So now we need to follow the money there, don't you think? Yeah. We didn't see nothing.
Somebody said something. I don't know who it was. Ogeron from LSU. He was on a podcast or something.
Go Tiger.
He called in there and he's all talking over there and he said that these teams, they've all caught up in the way that things are going because now they're allowed to pay the players.
Yeah.
And he's like, before you weren't allowed. And he's like,
yeah.
But
and it's funny how
happening. He's like, before you're allowed to do it in front of everybody. Like, and now before you had to do it behind everybody. Now you can do it right in front of everybody. Like it was.
Yeah. Now you can get Ricky Rose's dad a tractor. You can. It wouldn't matter. You can do all this other stuff, and Harbaugh was getting shit for buying a kid a cheeseburger, for Christ's sake, on a visit. Oh my God, he went to the cafeteria and bought him a damn cheeseburger. Oh my God. But, it's like, well, you go back in the day and you look at the SEC and how many things that they turned a blind eye to. And because, it was making money because those guys down there don't have NFL teams. Alabama ain't got a football team. Atlanta, they have the Falcons, but Georgia, other than that, they didn't have anything besides Georgia. So those are, they are big money makers. Big money makers. So it's like, okay, well, we'll let these guys kind of just pick whoever they want, pay whoever they want, whatever they want. But, Jim Harbaugh buys a kid a cheeseburger, he's screwed. If James Franklin buys some ice cream for his team, he's screwed. Yeah. Hell with that. And I think now it's that kind of happy joy time where it's SEC is like, God, maybe we weren't so good. They had great teams. But now it's even with IU being undefeated. It's like, well, if they had Alabama's schedule or if they had Georgia's schedule, they wouldn't be undefeated. Bullshit. They wiped Alabama's ass off the face of the earth.
Yeah. This is the best you had to offer? I mean, Georgia and Ole Miss, they beat up on each other, but then, Ole Miss got beat by Miami, which Miami looks good. I will give them credit. They look good. They're coming hot, getting hot at the right time. But, hot take. People are saying that the NIL has messed things up in college. I have a different take. The NIL made everything even playing field.
It evened the playing field. It really did.
Right? I mean, everyone knows about it. It's a free agency type of period. I still think there should be some more regulations on how it's operated, just for more fairness of not only the player but the college and stuff. I think limiting the transfers to 1 or 2 for the player, it makes total sense. Using a redshirt year and stuff, if you go or if you don't, kind of thing. The commitment, like you give money back if you break an NIL commitment deal and you change to another one, because again, you're getting a new NIL deal. So paying some of that money back to the college and then getting a new deal that was maybe more lucrative or this or that, you can pay some of that money back. I think they need to put some regulations in just to kind of help these guys be like, yeah, maybe I'll stay. Ty Simpson, he may not even go to the draft because there's like 20 freaking teams throwing money at him. And so now he may stay, and it's like, good for him, because he hasn't been hot in the NIL situation. But if you're like a Ryan Williams and you go to Alabama, and then the next year Georgia wants to give you a bunch, and then the next year Ole Miss, and the next year Florida, and it's like, you can't just change teams willy-nilly. You're not a free agent. You're not a professional. So I hope they put in some regulations, but I think NIL has evened the playing field. Any team, through recruiting and strategy and culture, can cultivate a champion, which is what you should want that.
Yeah. Yeah, you want parity. I mean, in the NCAA, it's usually, I've been watching NCAA for about 30 years, roughly. I started watching and getting into Michigan the tail end of 95. So I really got into that, and it seems like every year was different.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, these dynasty runs that anybody was having. It was different every year. Now, some of the same teams would make, high-end bowl games all the time, or even be in the championship. They might have a team in there 1 or 2 consecutive years.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you got into, I'd say, the late 2000s, 2010s, it started to become SEC dominated. It was just like, man, it was almost hard to watch because you knew what was going to happen. It became predictable. Now, this is the first season I can genuinely say that everything that has happened this season, if you would have predicted it, you'd be a billionaire. But
the college football world is turning into like an NFL type of thing with, you got 120 some teams, and so you're going to have like 40, 50 teams. Like this is going to feel so unpredictable with so many different, like you said, parity. Like, it's going to be probably the most exciting college football has ever been.
Yeah.
Ever. And people want to complain and say that IU's curbing the bullshit and they're doing that. Come on.
You're going to have that because people just want to throw that out there all the time. It's just like if you say something about a current event that somebody doesn't agree with, then you're a racist or whatever. They're just going to throw that shit out at you and say, well, you guys were cheating, obviously, because, Indiana and Kurt Cignetti, even though Kurt Cignetti has won everywhere he's gone, there is no way that he can come to IU and then in the second year be in the national title game without cheating.
Yeah.
That just can't happen, because Nick Saban didn't do it. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin didn't do it. It's like, okay, well, what makes those guys so godlike? Saban won a bunch. He won a bunch of titles.
Because he's a great recruiter. In your home, talking to you, telling you what he expects from you, the discipline, getting them ready on Saturday. Like, he was excellent. Mm-hmm. And that's why in that time and era, he was the GOAT. And he may stay the GOAT. He may stay considered to be the best college football coach of all time. He might be that. And that's fine, because I think he's earned it. But it's
Yeah.
not to say that it can't be done differently and from his
Yeah.
tree of all things.
Yeah. You see it in the NFL too.
Mhm.
The coaching trees that expand out and start doing their own thing, the success that they have.
Yeah.
You had McVay and you had Mike McDaniels. They came out of different trees. They went somewhere and had great success.
Mhm.
And who's under their tree? Those guys who are now starting to leave their trees
Mhm.
are branching out and having success. So it's like, it's all about the mind and it's all about the preparation and everything, how you can see the game unfolding and how can you manage all of that. It takes a great mind to be able to keep everything under the umbrella and making sure that things go off without a hitch. And that's why I believe Nick Saban will always be the GOAT at college football. I don't think anybody's ever going to replace him as the best. But, Signetti is definitely making a case. Now, if he can make it consistent,
Yeah, win
over the next
championship.
decade or so, you win a couple titles maybe, and you win 10 to 15 games every year. He may be in the conversation too, but I just think Nick Saban did so much throughout different eras, and it sucks, the NIL kind of took him away from football. But I love the way the NIL has kind of changed the game a little bit. And I think they need to work on the calendar for sure. I think transfers should not be allowed until the day after the national championship game.
Yeah.
At least if your team is in said game. Now, if your team is done, okay, you can have players from your team enter the portal. You just can't pull anybody in from the portal.
Right.
So I think that's the way it should be. I think there should be probably somewhere between middle of January to the beginning of February should be when they allow the transfer portal to be used and players to go in there and get stuff.
Totally agree. I'm honestly a bit surprised that Signetti has been able to grab like 8 transfers while also going on a run for a national championship. It's pretty
Yeah, it's
impressive.
insane. Very
Him,
impressive.
his multitasking is like top notch. He's a
Mm-hmm.
recruiter at heart from Alabama. I
Mm-hmm.
had somebody on the media, it was on the radio or something. They were talking about if you could say one positive that everyone would maybe agree with is that for Signetti, he went to a place where he was able to be himself and take chances because he's like you have to admit that if Alabama wanted to go with Signetti because of their situation. Saban's gone. Hey, former dude. Hey, we love your recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
You were great. Let's come over here. He could have gotten that interview. He was great at
For sure,
JMU.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
thing with it though is think about Signetti going to Alabama. I'm going to bring in Curtis Rourke. I'm going to bring in Fernando Mendoza. I'm going to bring in some JMU guys and Elijah Surratt or whoever. Like, I want to bring these guys in. He
Mm-hmm.
might not have made it out of the first season, is what the guy on the media said, because there's a
Yeah.
expectation for how to do it. Now, why is there only one way to win a championship? I don't know. I think there's traditionalists out there that are stuck in the past. They're stuck in the way it's done. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. Now that things have changed, the landscape totally looks different. At the end of the day, he recruited guys that fit him. And
Mm-hmm.
Alabama wouldn't have probably shown the correct amount of patience for that or loyalty to that or trust to that. But IU did because it's like we're the worst in the Power Five. We have nowhere to go but up. If you take us to 5 wins every year, that's an improvement. And he took them to 11 in his first year. And now we're in the national championship. The level of trust and patience that these organizations are showing is going to be huge moving forward. How much are you going to trust these head coaches to build your program? Because it's not all about 5-star recruiting anymore. There's
No.
layers to it. So many layers.
Yeah. Very, very wide array of
Yes.
angles you can approach it from. That's one of the reasons, where I like Michigan as much as I do, because they weren't always bringing in 5-star athletes. They don't bring in a whole lot of 5-star. They bring in some 4s and 3s and they develop them. And it's like, okay, because we have such a standard, of doing your best and being a Michigan man, it's like they say. But you come in and you have already developed seniors and juniors and you play under them. And they have the great athletes. And you can say the same for Alabama, Georgia, and all those guys too. is you come in and you have these upperclassmen who have been there and been doing it, and they show you the way. They show you what it takes to get on the field and to have success. And they see it and they learn it and they practice it every single day until it's their turn to come up. Now, if they don't get a chance to come up, then you can transfer and do whatever. But I think that's the right way. Is you bring in these kids who are, and who's doing the ranking anyway.
Right.
Somebody, I think, I don't remember who it was. There was somebody who was, I can't remember. I just watched it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
They were, it might have been Colston Loveland, like coming out of high school. He was like a 2-star or something. And now you see
great for the Bears lately.
He went to Michigan and developed. He learned behind like Jake Butt, and he had great examples ahead of him. And he's like, okay, well, now he took that mantle. Probably, I would say, I would have him as the best tight end in the history of Michigan football. That's just me.
Yeah.
But he went to Chicago, and what did he do? The first half of the season, you didn't really hear much out of him because he understands what it is to be coached. He's a coachable player, and he takes it and he learns and builds and builds and builds. And at the end of the year, in the playoffs, he's kicking ass.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of minds that you want in your kids when you have them come in. It's like, I want somebody who's not going to come in and say, dude, I'm going to get 300 yards rushing every game. I'm going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns, and I'm going to go back into the dorms and get laid every day. Or I'm going to go out there, I'm going to play, 10 to 15 snaps, and I'm going to do the best I can with the snaps that I'm given. And then your snap count will get higher and higher. You learn and you build yourself mentally and physically. So those are the kids that I would rather have too.
100%. And I always forget his name. Who's the Cowboys former OC that got a head coaching job?
Kellen Moore?
Kellen Moore. So Kellen Moore, correct me if I'm wrong, he's a Boise State guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So think about that as an example. Okay, so you got Kellen Moore. If the NIL was around, he was honestly really good for Boise State, and he took them as far as he could take them. You think about Signetti spending a little money bringing in Kellen Moore. Suddenly IU be good. You got Colt Brennan of Hawaii was one of the highest passers ever, and he was stuck in Hawaii. But how are you even really stuck in Hawaii? It's beautiful there. But he didn't play meaningful football, but he slinged the ball around everywhere. This year, you got Drew Messmaker, who's, I believe, a freshman in North Texas. He threw for the most passing yards in the league. Like, we're entering the world where part of your recruiting is finding these guys that are way undervalued, way under-scouted, under-recruited. And you bring these, you see they're opening at quarterback or receiver, and I think we want to bring him in and see if he's interested. If you got North Texas, so like, how isn't some of these teams in Texas? You don't need Arch Manning, you don't need a quarterback. But let's see, Texas Tech. There's these other guys like Messmakers should be able to get an interview at a few places, and I believe he is on the possibility of a transfer and stuff. You got Darian Mensah, I believe, of Duke. He was second, and it's Duke. It's like, these are the guys that you don't really know. Mendoza, he took Cal to 6 wins one year. We're bowl eligible, baby. Yeah, we're flipping bowl eligible.
Let's stink and go.
And now he's out here screaming, we're going to the national championship. This is crazy. And it's like the passion and everything. Like, you're looking for so many intangibles. These coaching staffs in these colleges, you've got more work to do. It's just, everything's changed. Go figure it out. Stop complaining that IU's doing it first. Like, why?
Yeah. Yeah, these coaches are just so used to gold nuggets just showing up on their doorstep.
Yeah.
Because of the pedigree of their logo and the history of their organizations and teams.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, no, we got to try to go out and buy somebody off of some other team.
Yeah.
And we got to make sure that they'll fit our scheme, and now it's not such a given thing now.
It's so much more of a little NFL now, and that's good because the transition is going to make the NFL better. Everybody's going to be better. There's not going to be this, well, he's a college guy type stuff. It's not going to be that kind of way anymore. The Antoine Rednells, they're going to get an opportunity at quarterback. Like, it's not going
Yeah.
to be these kind of situations and stuff. Like, the systems and everything, you're going to be put in the right situation. The teams are going to be strategically scheming it that way to be like, we can win with this guy. This guy's got the leadership we need. I'm excited. I think everyone should be excited for
Yeah.
college football.
Should be.
Talking more about the other football that took place this week, the big leagues, so to speak.
Yep.
The NFL wild card, your boy K went undefeated, 6-0.
Good job.
Got every single game right. And my boy Jay here, he only missed one, and it was on the champions of last season. So pretty much as good as we could possibly do. You didn't see a lot of people jumping in the comments saying, wow,
Good job.
you guys are amazing. I can't believe you guys took some. We didn't take all the top teams. We took road teams. Like we took just, I mean, I jumped around. It was like 3-3, I think, road and home. I took who I felt was the better team, and guess what? They all freaking won. Even though some of them got lucky, and we'll go through them here. It's a good day to be kept. Just saying.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, but we don't ever know shit, and it keeps getting better and better. Whenever we do good, nobody's there to tell us good job, or hey, you guys nailed it, or you guys are still assholes, or anything like that, which I would take.
My favorite is we don't really know or watch football very much. That's my
we don't
favorite.
know anything.
I just didn't realize that what I was watching wasn't football.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know to click info on my TV and read about what I'm actually watching. So
yeah, maybe it's because we don't say National Football League. We just say NFL. We're not good journalists.
That's on us. It's on us. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll try to be better.
Yeah. We'll start with the first game that we saw, the Rams at Panthers. I thought the Rams, the one thing I did say was I thought this was going to be a blowout. Dude, Carolina had this game.
They came to play, man. They came.
They had me sweating a little bit. I sweat on a few of these games. Every game was awesome to some degree until the final game, really.
Yeah.
The Panthers, they had the lead with just a minute or so left. Stafford drove them down the field, threw him a touchdown to yet just another tight end that nobody really knew he was there. He doesn't seem to need star tight ends. Higbee's hurt.
Yeah.
He just keeps throwing to whoever's active for that day. So Parkinson's been pretty good, though, I will say.
Yeah.
And the Rams pull it out late. They pulled it out late with the win. How did you see that game going? Did you feel like impressed or anything from anything?
Well, it started off pretty bad. You're just thinking, okay, well, this is how I thought it was going to go anyway.
Yeah.
But then, Carolina they kept chipping away, and, the Rams would have some penalties here and there, some drops. Puka had a really bad drop. And then Stafford tried to put Devontae in the hospital. But
let him out there a little.
Yeah. It's just mistakes that you really don't see the Rams make.
Yeah.
And Carolina was just, they were on it. And when they went for it on fourth down on their first drive, that was kind of like, all right, this is why we don't want a sub 500 team to have a home playoff game, because you're going to do dumb shit like that. But give them credit. They were aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to see them up by 3 with 2-3 minutes left to go, it's like, oh my God.
It was 31-27 with 2:39 left. Pass to Jalen Coker for a touchdown gave them a 4-point lead with just 2.5 left. Now, which it's too much for Stafford. He got down there in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, I was a little concerned because, the Panthers on their drive, they scored in 4 plays, went 30 yards, touchdown in a minute and 33 seconds. And I was like, shit. The Rams left 38 seconds. I was a little bit like, man, if they get like a Leggett play or something, they're going to be right there to tie this, and we're going to get OT, Like, they only needed a field goal. But the Rams, they put them to like 4 and out and took them out. That Rams defense, Matt Young, that team is good. Landman is a hell of a linebacker.
Yeah.
So they have the pieces, and I've been considering. I haven't made my Super Bowl picks. I probably should have. I don't like doing that because I'm always wrong.
Yeah.
But I would have probably picked Rams Bills would have been mine. And I'm
Mhm.
still feeling pretty good about those picks overall. I mean,
Yeah. I yeah, I can't argue really with that, but the only thing that kind of makes me shy away from the Rams is just the mental mistakes and the inconsistency at times. You let a team like Carolina hang around, when you're up 14,
yeah.
and they can't stop you and you're dominating them basically.
Could
And
we
then
have
it's
been
just like almost
wrong? Could we have been wrong about the Panthers though? Is that possible?
no,
Possible?
no. I definitely think that they outkicked their punt coverage here this season, but they definitely overachieved, and they had a great showing in the playoffs. They played the Rams and gave them all that they could have ever wanted. But they may grow on it next year. They may get some people who are actually like, you know what, I like what they're doing down in Carolina. They can get some guys to go down there. Um, then they'll compete for another division title next year.
There's no shame to losing to the Rams and McVay
None.
and the probably the MVP Stafford this year. There's no shame in losing by 3 at home. Like I
Nope.
said, a lot of people I think pick this as a blowout, us included.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you guys are idiots. It's a lot closer than what you said it would be. Ass wipes.
We'll move on to the nightcap of Saturday night, and it was
Please do.
it was awesome.
What a game.
I 21-3 at one point, and I was like, well, fuck. I thought my pick was way wrong. I was like, I thought the Bears would have come out with a little more urgency early on.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk more about the head coaches because when was there? What happened that there's so much animosity there? It looks like true hatred in just 3 games as head coaches against each other. The fastest
Yeah.
handshake I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was okay. I like it. I mean, it's you got Ben Johnson's like, I'm here and this is what I've done. This is my fucking division. Now they can go to Green Bay and do their little double checks and say I own you.
What do you
But
think? Like Ben Johnson, like what crawled up his ass exactly though? Because when he came into Chicago, he seemed to be a very nice, positive guy about like that we're gonna change things here, and like the interview looked great, and like the day he walked in, and I was like, oh, this is a good guy, and I think he's gonna do good things. And then like he gets on the field and he turns into the Terminator, and he's like everyone
yeah,
is the bad guy. I
yeah,
didn't know he had it in him like to be that way.
yeah. I think the city of Chicago kind of went up his ass a little bit, and just the season that they've had, all the close games that they've been involved in, and I mean Caleb Williams in that fourth quarter had some of the best throws that I've seen in quite a while. Hitting that corner route on that last drive was,
DJ
dude,
Moore.
that was so good. So good. And to see how he has progressed this year. He's got the Bears record now for passing yards in a season. Didn't quite get to 4,000, but it's almost a foregone conclusion that he stays healthy next year. He's going to throw for over 4,000.
Yeah. He'll be a
But
hot fantasy player for people to take at the right spot because
yeah,
people will be like expecting way over value where he's drafted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the Ben Johnson deal, him being a coordinator in Detroit, they've probably had some battles between Detroit and Green Bay where it's like, fuck you, LaFleur, I don't like you. It's just this is bullshit. And it's just the Bears and the Packers are like the oldest rivalry anyway. So to now see that be restored now is great for football, and
Is
I love it.
yes. Bears Packers as a division rivalry that's like wow, you're not sure who will win, like they're close and it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's good for football and that rivalry there. I love that. I every time I think of LaFleur in this situation, I'm just like I'm thinking of dodgeball, dude. I'm thinking
Yeah,
of
cram it up your cram hole.
yeah, LaFleur.
Yeah.
Every time we'll put it down there. We'll put it down there so everybody can see it. But yeah, it every single time. And now he has someone in that division that is he will yell in your ear. Like
Oh yeah.
Dan
Oh
Campbell
yeah.
will bite your kneecap. Like, there's people on that division that are telling Green Bay no more. A lot of people think
No more.
LaFleur could be on the hot seat next year. because of this
Yeah.
loss, they were up 21-3, and a lot of people are talking about a lot of
Yeah.
good teams, a lot of good talent, a lot of promise, but they keep blundering in the playoffs. Do you think LaFleur has that kind of hardball Tomlin kind of hot seat brewing where you could see him being fired or stepping down or something after a mediocre okay season again? Like, because those, when they pile up, apparently after 18 years you can be fired. He's still got like another 10 he needs to put in at least. But
Yeah.
do you see him being on a hot seat?
No, well, I don't know. Not really.
No, I don't think so either.
They've gotten to the playoffs a lot since he's been there, and they've won playoff games with him.
Right.
So I don't think he's on the hot seat. I just think Green Bay allowed themselves to hallucinate that they had a good team this year.
Well,
They didn't.
that's
They
not
didn't. I have
Hold
when
on.
you finish 9-7-1, and you're what? They were the 7th seed. Let's not forget that they backed their way in. Yeah, that tie with Dallas. That tie with Dallas is the only reason that they got in.
But it's
So
important that
they had
they lost Micah Parsons, and that hurts.
yeah
They don't
one dude.
have the dominant corners that they used to have. They let that one go, that Jair Alexander. So they need to draft a little bit, but don't they seem close to being really good? Because that
They're
offense,
close.
if healthy on defense and offense, like they look close, don't they?
Yeah, they do look like they're close. I just think that they need Jordan Love to, I think, take another step next year, or that experiment's close to being over. I see them drafting another quarterback, or at least signing another one going into next year. Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I think.
No.
Well, let me start. I think Malik Willis is going to go somewhere else. I think somebody else is going to sign him. I think he's going to go away. He's going to probably get a starting opportunity next year.
Okay.
So I think with that, you bring in somebody else to compete with Jordan Love and kind of show him, look,
Geno Smith.
you need fucking gross. I wouldn't do that to them. But if you're gonna draft somebody, then draft somebody and just be like, we need some production. Because if the Packers and their fan base, owners, whatever you want to call them, really thought that they had a chance to do anything at all in the playoffs, maybe they could have beaten the Bears at some point. But are they really going to go to Seattle and beat the Seahawks? No. Are they going to go any further than that? No. So this was not a championship team in Green Bay this year. I mean, they started off pretty good, but once they tied the Cowboys, it was like, yeah, these guys are not really that good.
That's fair. I get it. Early on though, dude, they hit all their receivers. I look at their receivers. Mm-hmm. You got Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, all with touchdowns. You got Matthew Golden. The team is loaded from a talent standpoint. I feel like for them, they should look at maybe an offensive lineman. You got to think, dude, they lost their tight end. Like Micah Parsons, they lost it. There's reasons why the Packers blundered before the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to bring a veteran quarterback in. I also don't think that Malik Willis is going to go anywhere because you probably have to request a trade. And if you're Green Bay, why would you trade him away?
I don't know why you would want to trade him away, but I will say they did lose to the Browns and Panthers when they were fully healthy.
Panthers are a playoff team.
Oh, fuck off. No way. No way.
So,
absolutely not.
In the fourth quarter, the Bears scored 25 points in the fourth. Santos 51-yard field goal, Swift touchdown, Zacchaeus touchdown with a 2-point conversion to Colston Loveland, which I thought was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the DJ Moore touchdown with a minute left. Doesn't it just feel like the fourth quarter Bears have been just like, do you think they have enough fourth quarter Bears that they could find themselves in the Super Bowl? Does that seem unbelievable?
I don't. It's not. I mean, they are the 2 seed, so I mean they're gonna. I think
play a lot of home games. That's in that.
Yeah, they get one more home playoff game.
And what if Seattle were to blow it? They'd get another home game. I don't know that Seattle will blow it, but they're playing a division rival.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what you can never guarantee, especially if you're meeting a division rival in the playoffs.
That third time
and
is
they
really
split
hard.
the season.
I know.
So I like Seattle just because they have the home game, but
That 12th man, that is a good 12th man.
yeah, it's a good place to be. And they just dominated them. I think it was at San Francisco. They just shut them down, and now they're going back to their place where it was a last play of the game. It came down to last play of the game. I think they played each other in week 1.
Yeah.
At Seattle, and it came down to that last possession. So I think it'll be. I think it'll probably be another good weekend of playoff games. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Bears made a run, because it looks like they have a team who you can't say that they're out of it until there's no time left. And Caleb Williams, he's looking like he's bagged up a couple of last drive wins and game winning drives, put him in field goal positions and everything to win games. So you got to look at it as, okay, if we're going to give Chicago the ball at the end of the game, we need to make sure that there's like 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
So he's starting to kind of appear to be one of those late game heroics kind of guys who, he may be off center a little bit in the first half of a game, but then he's going to come out in the second half and he's going to do a little bit of damage. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run.
So the Rams, they won their game in like the last minute. The Bears won their game in the last minute. As we move on to Sunday, the trend continued. The Bills win their game in the last minute.
Yeah.
The Jags had the game. It was a back and forth. The score changed several times as far as who was leading. Bills struck first blood 3-0. Then it was 3-7 Jacksonville. Then it was 10-7, 13-7. Then Jacksonville got a field goal and a touchdown. They were up 17-13 starting the fourth quarter. The Bills take the lead 2017. Jags take the lead with 4 minutes left, 24-20. I mean, it was just a back and forth deal. Josh Allen with a very controversial push throughout the game. He gets a 1-yard rush for the touchdown with a minute left in the game. Jacksonville could not get down there. Do we like the tush push as far as the rugby style? Because it's probably the furthest we've seen one go, about 11 yards on the one. And people are like, this isn't even football. This is just rugby. And it's like, that is a kind of football.
Yeah. It's what they call it, 3 yards in a cloud of dust back in the day. It's just, and I don't mind the scrum as long as it's not every goddamn play,
Right.
But if it's 3rd and 1,
and
you have a quarterback who's 6'5", 240, why wouldn't you?
I believe that it's fine as a football play because I've seen Mahomes hurt his kneecap doing a QB sneak for us against us one game. And everyone's like, oh, you only beat him in the regular season that 1 year before they won the Super Bowl because of that play and he was banged up. And it's like, the Colts always beat the Chiefs, so screw you.
Yeah, so it's okay.
They can win the championship at those years. It's like, but the Colts beat you in the regular season. We're just never there in the playoffs to play them.
Never, yeah.
It's a risk. Jalen Hurts and all these guys, it's a risk to run your quarterback up the middle. If someone's gonna fall on them, it's gonna happen eventually. It's a risk. And
high risk, high reward.
As long as you don't false start or whatever, if you don't do anything illegal on the play to do your scrum, I'm good with it. I don't care.
Yeah. And it seems like they do that. Yeah. And they don't have a problem with that. It seemed like they got off the ball as soon as it was snapped, and it wasn't, a half a second before. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a risk. You're putting your running quarterback in there with all that beef at his ankles and knees.
And everybody's just falling on each other.
They're just falling on each other. And he's so long and heavy that he can just fall forward and get 2 yards. And then that's all you need him really to do. But yeah, that last one was kind of like, okay, they're not stopping. They're still going.
There was a very slight kind of like slow, and right when you thought maybe the whistles would come out, you could see him starting to pick up speed. You're like, up.
Don't. I was like, oh, don't blow dead. They're going. So yeah, I could see why somebody would want to complain about the ball not being blown dead at a certain point. I can, it just depends on what it looks like.
Yeah.
I would think if the way I see it is if you are meeting the defense and you're not moving forwards, for 2 seconds, then okay,
Yeah.
blow it dead.
I see. I was just about to say the
So
same thing. Two Mississippis, and then you blow it dead
yeah,
immediately. Like one Mississippi,
yeah,
two Mississippi. All right, beep.
yeah. If it's not moving, okay, it plays dead. If they start going backwards, it's automatically dead.
Yeah.
So that's how I would. That's how I would call it if I was a rep anyway. So, and I'm sure they get buzz from New York if they're it's going on long enough.
I think for the Jags, they didn't quite take care of the ball well enough. Kudos to the reporter after the game, paying Cohen an extremely nice compliment. A lot of people were like trying to be negative about it, and I think Pat or someone spoke out about it. It was like, well, wait a
Hmm.
minute. It's like he deserves his flowers. He was awesome.
Yeah,
Jacksonville was a good team this year. They were 13-4. They were good. They were good.
after going 4-13.
I mean, he flipped their record on a dime, and you can tell that he's got the kind of moxie to make them a competitive team year in and year out. So they've got their head coach. Now you can see Jacksonville make the right steps towards being a real good contender. They were right there. They lost to Buffalo. If Buffalo wins the title, Jacksonville is like, well, if we'd have played anybody else, we probably could have went further.
Yeah,
So I like how she kind of said, you had a great year, hold your head held high. Like,
yep,
I like that.
yeah. There needs to be more of that, I think.
Too much
But
scrutiny
like
after the year's over. Like, just
we've had this conversation several times about journalistic integrity,
hmm
and it's like negativity sells.
hmm
If you have a negative headline, people are going to be more inclined to read it. If you have anything positive going on in there, you're a bitch. Who cares? We don't need anybody sitting there saying,
well, you could hug him
coach,
later.
yeah, yeah. Why don't you tell them this stuff when the cameras aren't rolling?
Off camera, yeah.
Off camera. It's just like, okay, well, yeah, we need everybody in Jacksonville to be sad right now because we went to the playoffs and we lost. We won the division and we lost in the first round of the playoffs
hmm
to quite possibly a team of destiny. You just don't know that yet. Okay, now Buffalo still needs to go to Denver and then probably to New England. So they got a hell of a path ahead of them.
Yeah.
But it could have just been the first step. We've been there a couple times and Colts are going 13-3, 14-2.
hmm
You get into the first round of playoffs, maybe you get a bye, but then when you come in and you're in the divisional round, they get blown out. They get their asses kicked. And it's just sometimes that's just the way it's meant to be.
hmm
But to get upset or to scrutinize somebody saying, you know what, Coach Cohen, you came in here and you turned this team around, complete 180 from where we were last year.
hmm
Trevor Lawrence had a great season. The running game found its way back.
hmm
You have Brian Thomas. You got what's his name?
Parker
Jacoby
Washington.
Myers, Parker
I think
Washington,
Parker Washington's their best receiver
Strange
this year.
even.
Strange.
Yeah, and their defense is going to be there. So I mean, it's like they have nothing but positivity to look at. That yeah, you got beat in the first round. You got beat in the wild card by a good team.
They averaged almost
So
7 yards a carry, 154 yards rushing on Buffalo. Like
yeah,
Jacksonville put themselves in a very good position to win this football game at home. Like
yeah,
they were right there.
yeah, and they have their guy. Liam Cohen is a hell of a football coach, and he proved it this year. He's a goofy bastard in the preseason. So a lot of people were probably like, "Oh shit, what are we getting ourselves into?" But
I
he came in and cleaned house, man.
I think that the only thing you can really say about Jacksonville is, do you want to try to bring in a number one receiver to go with that? I don't think you need to.
I think they have probably a very underrated wide receiver room.
Yes,
Very
I think it's a
underrated.
good receiver room.
It's
I think the
very
next
good.
question might really be like, where we see Trevor Lawrence as the guy, and like I think you're going to go with him next year, but I think that
Hmm.
his seat could be a little bit warm because he did have
It could
two
be.
interceptions in this game, the only turnovers for Jacksonville, and they ran the ball really well. So when you see it from an offensive standpoint, you might point to that a little. I think you
Hmm.
can keep drafting defense, maybe an offensive lineman, but you might start looking at that quarterback situation a little if you're Liam Cohen. Because I'll be honest, I'm a little bit convinced that he doesn't really like Trevor Lawrence and his long hair. I don't think he likes him. That's just me. Sunshine. You cut that hair.
No, I think Trevor Lawrence, I think,
He's
was
solid.
kind of rejuvenated this year
He's solid.
with Liam Cohen. So I think he's probably going to be their guy. I think he has another 2 or 3 years left in good graces down there. So now, if they have a falling out between him and Cohen, nobody knows what their relationship is besides those two. Nobody knows.
Do you
So
think that?
speculation and all that,
Do you think
throw it out the window.
Cohen has the upper hand at this moment? That like, if
Yes.
Trevor and the Jags start to have an issue, don't you kind of think that they might actually move Lawrence before they would fire Cohen?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes, and they would be right to, because before this year, the last couple of seasons, Trevor Lawrence has kind of been ass. You know,
Kind of.
he's turned it over. He hasn't had the passing yards. He hasn't had, just the production that he had this year was enough to say, okay, so this is what you got, kind of Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, at the beginning, where he was a lot better and he was throwing the ball, doing really good, running when he needed to, and he would give you plays. Now, evidently, after a couple years, that soured a little bit, but I think that him doing what he did this year bought him a couple more seasons. Will it get him another contract? Who knows? I don't know. But I think if things start to take a turn, it's going to be more, okay, let's move on from Lawrence than it is let's move on from Cohen.
I mean, I disagree a little. I think that if the Jaguars started the year off like the Bengals did this year, I think that Trevor Lawrence could be traded by the deadline. I actually do.
Yeah, well, no, and that's kind of what I think they would move Lawrence.
Yeah. I'm just saying
before they did anything with Cohen.
I don't think he played himself into maybe like a 2 years kind of thing. I think that if they had any struggle next year, then he would start to get moved out.
I don't think. I mean, they would have to be. I mean, ass, like real bad ass. Like they would like week 7 or 8, and you're 0-7. I mean, it would have to be just falling off the wagon. But who do they got behind him? Nick Mullins?
Yeah, I mean, they have to bring in somebody competent.
If you want to bring in somebody just to keep it fresh, then okay, by God, do it.
Kyler.
But no,
you wouldn't do that.
Kyler needs to just go away, I think he just needs to be done. People need to quit talking about Kyler.
He needs to start a brand of sports bras for all them guys.
He absolutely should. No wires.
Wires. Wireless sports bras by Kyler.
Yeah.
No wire by Kyler.
They stimulate my nips.
The next game, the champs were eliminated. I predicted this.
One wrong.
You're one wrong. I predicted this. I thought 49ers.
Nostradamus, I forgot. Sorry.
I just didn't like Philly, man. And AJ Brown, how many drops did he
have
in the game? And the shouting and all that looks like dude, it's what we said in week 5. It's I feel like you forgot a little bit. It's what we said. Week 5, week 6, week 7, we were like, bad body language, and that is going to
just bad vibes, yeah.
And it absolutely did. It absolutely did.
Well, it was at its worst, and then he kind of turned the corner a little bit and was very productive.
He was suddenly good
every other week after that. Yeah, he would get 5 to 7 catches, have right around 100 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe not.
And then he was just like,
but I think, But I think after this playoff game, he was non-existent. He just disappeared, had a couple bad drops, no effort, and
you can't trust a receiver with the initials A Brown.
Ew. Hey, leave 84 out of this.
I ain't. Tell me another A Brown that's ever been any good without being a complete distraction at some point in their career. I'll wait.
Yeah, but we all know that AB shit was caused by Burfict.
Was there an Anthony Brown that I don't know about?
That I can think of. I would have to look it up, and I'm not going to do that right now.
I saw this coming, though. I really did. And, hey, shout out to George Kittle. Yes, this cat. I'll try to get those out. We'll try to.
No, you leave her in there.
Remove cat.
She's going to be a star. Yeah.
But no, dude, George Kittle. Ouch. That hurt.
Yeah, because I saw him laying there, and I think they went to commercial, and they came back and they showed the slow mo replay, and I think as Pacer fans, as Colts fans, we are trained to look at the ankle and the Achilles, and that's the first place I looked when they showed that replay, and then you just see the snap and the recoil. It's like, God damn it, Quick Kittle just tore his Achilles. And he had been battling an ankle since, the couple weeks ago, I think when they played the Seahawks. Well, he came back against the Seahawks, but I mean, it was a couple games before that where he had kind of screwed his ankle up. And so it's probably a Daniel Jones kind of situation where you're overcompensating and just came back a little too early, and you don't like that because he's pretty much gone next year too. He's not going to play much, if at all.
Yeah.
So, but it's the Niners. It seems like Tonjes, he filled in so good all year.
Yes.
So
Tonjes
keep him.
good. And you got Demarcus Robinson went over 100 yards in this game, and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa,
he was big, man. Big.
Juwan only had one catch. Purdy
But he had a hell of a throw.
He did have a hell of a throw. And he's 29-yarder for a touchdown. The 49ers they're well coached. They play till the whistle. They just do all of those things right throughout the game. They take their 4 yards, and they wear you out a little bit mentally. They're a very mentally tough team. I don't think they get a lot of credit for the kind of shit they go through with injuries and disappointments and Super Bowl losses. And I'm like, they are a mentally tough bunch of guys. And Purdy, you're not a good player. You're not MVP caliber. You're not. Dude, Purdy, since he come back, he's played pretty darn good football. Like, he's picked right up where he left off. Sure, he'll have his random kind of bad game, and that happens for a lot of quarterbacks. But, Jalen Hurts, he threw for 168 yards. Saquon went over 100. But, again, A.J. Brown with several drops, at least 3 or 4 drops, and screaming with Nick Sirianni. It's like, it just felt like that the writing was on the wall. Like, it was going to happen in a tense moment, in a big moment. Something doesn't go your way, and you just fold. Mentally tough. I picked them Niners for that reason. They lose Kittle, and they still win the game.
Yeah, I without a doubt, my pick for Coach of the Year is definitely going to be Shanahan. Because to still get 12 wins, 13 wins with all the injuries that you've had.
That's true.
The amount of just headline talent that they lost, and they were still competitive. I mean, they were a drive away from being the number 1 seed. I mean, holy shit. To do that and to still come away with this, and then your first game in the playoffs, you beat the defending champs at their house. I don't care how just dramatic that team is and how much shit that they're going through. You just beat the defending champions at their house.
I give them a chance.
So absolutely, Shanahan is my Coach of the Year for sure.
I give them a chance against Seattle for that very reason.
Oh, you can't count them out. You can't. You just can't. Unless it's 35-7 at halftime. You really can't count them out. And even then, it's like, okay, well, you can see the Niners probably try to make a comeback, but you can't count them out of any game. And Seattle was probably like, shit. Yeah. That's not who we wanted to see, in the divisional. Mm-hmm. I will give them so much credit. They just keep finding ways to win. And it's from a backseat perspective, it's really fun to watch.
There were so many good teams this year, though, at the top that Coach of the Year is going to be incredibly hard to give out.
Yeah.
Sean Payton with Denver.
Could be.
I don't like him.
Hell with that guy.
Vrabel for New England. You got
he's up there too.
I always forget his name. It's not McMahon for Seahawks, is it? It's something close to that.
McDonald.
McDonald for the Seahawks, and then like you just said, Shanahan, McVay. I like McVay and what he's done with an MVP, Stafford, dude, even Ben Johnson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Liam Cohen.
Yeah, like, they haven't had a lot of you could have so many of them could win it. I understand that, and I wouldn't fight with Cohen or Ben Johnson or any of those
Because,
other
like, how
guys you
much do you
mentioned.
think about where you thought a team was going to be to where they are? Or are you just looking at who
Yeah.
you think that was the best overall? Like, how they
Just
decide
looking
that
at the
is
just looking at the canvas of work that they were able to that they were able to come out with
or
when
like the
you watched all
adversity.
the adversity.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the adversity they had to go through, and you see the injuries. You go 7 weeks or something like that without Brock Purdy, but Mac Jones is there to save the fucking day.
Just
And
deep
Tonja's
left.
stepping up when Kittle's out. Yeah, just how
Bethune,
they were able to come back.
back for Fred Warner,
And it's
Bethune coming in.
yeah, and as much as people don't like him, but Bosa was out too.
Yeah. And don't the 49ers have a Kendricks off the street? Isn't that who signed
Yes,
Kendricks? Like,
yeah,
and he was like
he
maybe
came
was
in
gonna
and made a
retire,
difference.
and he's just a difference maker because he's up here
Yeah.
mentally tough and understands everything that's going on. He's always been a very smart and good schematic linebacker,
Hmm.
and here he is in
Yep.
his mid and he's playing meaningful football and helping this team overcome that adversity. It's just incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that would be my vote anyway. It may or may not win it,
I
but
I do see that adversity
yeah.
situation. It's hard to, for the Seahawks, we didn't think they were going to be there like that either. It's like it's hard for
Mm-mm.
me to judge where I wow, how much better is this team than I thought versus how much have they gone through? It's really hard for me to decide. I would probably agree with you. I think I care more about the adversity. I think that wrecks your season much more is injuries than just being better than people thought. I think that injuries wreck your season so bad, and it hasn't for them.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, man. Mike McDonald, Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, all those guys. I would say, okay, I can see why they got the award. I can see why. Even Sean Payton. I can understand
We
where
really don't
everybody
want to
was
see
coming
Sean
from and
Payton
why they
again.
voted that way. Don't really want to see him
I don't
get
want
it,
to see
but
it.
you know
We
what?
get
Who
it.
cares?
Yeah.
But all any of those other guys, I could totally see winning it, and I would say good for you. I would disagree with it, but
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. I'm just a white from Naptan.
Moving on to the nightcap Sunday night football. This game wasn't, exciting, but it was impressive that both defenses were really good. I mean,
So
the mentor, maybe coached himself into a head coaching job with that kind of performance his defense did because New England was uncomfortable. They did everything they could for those 16. But unfortunately, New England was just better. And you wonder if Herbert
so
wasn't
much
hurt,
better.
how that would have gone. If their line was healthier, you wonder how that could have gone. But
Yeah,
ultimately, dude, New England was all over them, all over
they
them. It was gross
yeah
at times.
yeah they it was Drake May didn't have to be Superman.
No,
He did just enough, and that was all they needed him to do. That defense was just they were just on it all
yeah,
night long. Yeah, Herbert, I mean, shit, man. He's got to be so goddamn sore
yeah.
every Monday.
I think a little bit of like Daniel Jones as far as like the toughness that Herbert had.
Early career Daniel Jones, yeah. Just
Yes,
no line there, but he can make a lot of different throws if you give him the time. But Herbert is so athletic and talented that he can make a subpar offensive line look like an average offensive line.
hmm
But New England made them look so pedestrian. I mean, it was so bad. They were stunting and bull rushing the hell out of them all night long and getting home. So, yeah, if I was Herbert, yeah, definitely going to do some Matthew Stafford iron lung shit over the off season. Maybe get yourself right, but they definitely need line depth.
yes, badly. Herbert was sacked 6 times. He ran the ball 10 times. God knows how many hurries he had that made those runs possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to invest in their line. I have faith in Jim Harbaugh. It was his
Hmm.
first season, I believe, with the Chargers, or second. It was his second year, second. Okay, so I have faith that they will get their offensive line. They got Joe Alt, so they drafted what was an excellent tackle, but he got hurt. They're gonna going to get more linemen. So they're going to fix that. That's the good thing. Another good thing is their defense was awesome this year. Bad sign is that Minter's probably going to go be a head coach. So hopefully
Yeah.
you can bring the next guy up like the way the Lions did and have good defensive players, maybe even stay healthy. But the Patriots are it's impressive. The Patriots, I would probably rather see Vrabel get Coach of the Year over Sean Payton because I thought Denver was good and their defense is really good, and I kind of already thought that. But man, the New England Patriots, I didn't think they were going to be anywhere near this at all.
No,
Vrabel
at
is a
least not so
fucking
soon.
Vrabel's a dude. Colts, we really missed it. We were saying it. We were like, don't let him be a consultant for the Browns. What is this bullshit?
Yeah.
Go get
Yeah.
him.
Go get him. Yeah.
Anyway,
I was ready for it, but what are you gonna do?
yeah, he was meant for the Patriots. It sucks,
Yeah.
but it makes sense. And they were great. They just know who they are. Fortunately, they have a little bit of an IU kind of feel. It's just like a bunch of guys maybe you don't really know, and oh, they're not that good. And this thing, when you watch them, it's like everybody's getting 5 a carry, everybody's catching the ball in third down, everybody's getting open. And who's that guy? Well, he's their second leading receiver this year. You don't know who Kayshon Boutte is? Like how do you not know Booty?
Yeah. You got to get that booty.
You got to. Stephon Diggs is being a leader and stuff. So they just do exactly what they need. And Drake May, he runs around and he makes it difficult on people. He's not afraid to run, and that always stresses defenses out. You can't tell me it don't. Having to leave corners in the flat because you're worried about the running backs running out there for a catch, and you also have to worry about the running backs curling out there too. It's stressful.
Mm-hmm.
These corners, they're making good money if they're stars. So you have to look for 2 guys now when you're a corner over there.
Yeah, they did a hell of a job. That's not an easy offense to stop. And when you hold them to 3 points, I mean, you got to look at it and say, man, that was impressive. Yeah, it's going to be, I know we're getting ready to get into it a little bit, but I mean, to see New England's defense against, the Houston defense, here we are. It could be a baseball game. It could be a 3-2,
9-6.
affair, one of those where just nobody does anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, man, but I love those divisional round playoff games where it's just we're gonna beat the fucking piss out of each other all game, and then somebody's gonna get a field goal in the second half. And when it feels like if you get a field goal, it puts the game out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those are the games that I like, where it's like the defenses are playing so well and it's so cold and they're beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It could turn out to be one of those types of games, but I'd be here for it.
Yeah. And, we get the defenses are going to reign supreme in the AFC. The Bills are going to have their work cut out for them because there are 3
They do
stud defenses. And the Bills, they got to go at New England. This is another one that's going to be for the 3rd time. Hard to tell how those games go. And then the Texans will play Denver. So one of those defenses is going to be in the AFC Championship awaiting Bills Patriots. So
yeah,
we're going to get at least one juggernaut defense. And like you just said, we might get 2 juggernaut defenses in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm. And all the teams that are outside of Houston, they're outdoor teams.
Yeah. Going in,
cold ain't gonna be a factor.
Yeah, going into the Monday night game, Houston, Pittsburgh. This game, it looks really, really tragic. It wasn't this tragic. It's a little misleading. The top just came off in the 4th quarter. This game was 7-6. Okay, so Pittsburgh was matching a lot of what was happening. And they just couldn't get any points in the end zone, right? They couldn't get in the touchdown area. They kept having to settle for field goals. Houston, same thing. They were struggling to get anything going. They couldn't quite get it to work out. 4th quarter, they kick a field goal, and then the top comes off. They get 2 defensive touchdowns. They get a Woody Marks touchdown. They just poured it the hell on. It was a pick 6, the final touchdown of the game. Aaron Rodgers just throwing up something desperate. I honestly thought they were going to have Mason Rudolph in at that point because 24-6, 5 minutes left, or 3 minutes left or so.
Yeah.
Game's over, but they didn't. Pittsburgh had a good
Rodgers ain't getting out of that game.
No, he ain't. Pittsburgh had a good year. Houston, they started the year really bad. And honestly, the conversation, they could have had the Colts schedule flipped. They played their hard teams early on. They were having some connection issues, some just no chemistry. Quarterback CJ Stroud wasn't doing well, but you could tell mid-year that they were starting to get their stride a little bit, and that defense was fantastic the entire year. It could carry them all the way. They're my wild card. If I would have picked a wild card, I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
watch out for Houston because you always see these
yeah,
teams get hot at the right time, and that's my wild card in the AFC is Houston, and they just bludgeoned Pittsburgh.
yeah, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they made a push here. I just think, man, weather is going to be a factor. I think it's if they get any sort of precipitation in New England, it's going to be really hard for Houston to do their shit up there.
They play Denver, right?
And
Houston plays Denver.
no, Houston goes to New England. Buffalo's going to Denver.
Well, Buffalo's behind Houston in the seeding.
Buffalo was a
I
6,
totally
yeah.
forgot that.
Houston was a
Okay.
5.
Okay, well then never mind then. Buffalo's
But yeah,
got
I
Denver.
well, yeah, and I think Buffalo's going to need their defense to play out of their minds. But I think if I'm Buffalo, I would rather go to Denver than to New England right now. Anyway, because Denver's had that week off. Well, Denver's had the week off, so they may come in a little cold and a little off. No, they're not going to be just pinpoint here. They're going to have some shit go
Yeah.
not their way.
Give me the enemy.
But I think Buffalo. What's that?
Give me the enemy that I know.
Absolutely.
I want to play someone a third time. Give me a fourth
Well,
time. I don't care.
do that in the AFC Championship. You know what I mean? Where you
Yeah.
can just go in there and let it all out.
I get it.
And I mean, Buffalo did win in New England already this year, so it could be doable. So I would much rather go and play Denver right now. It's that they've had that week off. I think that works in Buffalo's favor because they just got through a nail biter with Jacksonville,
Yeah.
and I can't help it. I know I'll probably catch shit for it, but I believe Jacksonville is a better team than Denver, and they're just more complete. When you have Denver, we'll just pull games out of their ass because their defense is there to save them, to get them out of every mistake.
I will admit, I like Houston's chances better playing New England also. Not just Buffalo's, but I also like Houston's chances because I think Houston's offense had still been a little sputtery but their defense has been great. And so for New England, if you have a great defense slowing each other down, making it a little ugly, a little difficult, then it could be anyone's game. For Buffalo, I worry a little bit about that defense that Jacksonville ran on them, but I think I honestly, New England's a scarier offensive team, probably. So maybe you're right. They would rather play at Denver in Denver. It's gonna be good. We'll do a prediction show here this week on it, but it's gonna be good.
I just think that the way it lays out will work in their favor because, they'll get a cold week off Denver team who could be susceptible to some mistakes, some turnovers, and then you go around and you do beat them. And let's just say New England does go on to beat Houston. Houston's going to beat the shit out of New England. They're going to be beat up after that game.
Yeah.
So I would probably be like, this is what we want to do. We can just go into New England, pull out our bag of tricks, and then just as long as we can impose our will on them, we could probably move them because they're so sore from having to deal with, Willie Anderson and those guys. So I kind of like to see it that way. If I'm the Bills, that's kind of how I want it to go out.
I get it. We'll do a prediction show. I went 6-0 last week. We'll see how I can do this week on them all. I think we just about covered everything. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll continue to cover football. We're getting closer to the end. The end is near. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Later.